What is the support and resistance? Support and resistance are key level and turning point where price reacts from. For example, you have something like this, and this is the chart. You understand? This is the chart. So support are key level where price bounce from, like this, where price bounce from. This is a support. This is a support. This is a support because price bounce from it, and resistance are key level and turning point where price react from, like this, like this, like this, like this. So price react from it and come down. This is a resistance, this one resistance, and this one resistance. So in order for you to tackle this, the first thing you need to know is support and resistance are very much more powerful and effective when it's in alignment with a trend. So about the resistance, what are you doing? First of all, you need what? A trend. You look for what? A lower low, you understand? A lower high and what? A lower low. Once you get a lower low, that is now a trend has been established. That is the first rule. Now, we mark out what? The last high, you understand? The support that break through to cause this lower low is last low, you understand? So this will be our first point of resistance. This will be our second point of resistance. That is the second rule. The third rule is that at this point of resistance and at this point of resistance here, you go to previous price action in the past to check if there's any price reaction in that zone. If there's minimum of 2 price reaction in that zone, then that is what? This is a valid resistance. Once you have a valid resistance, you click on your rectangular box and you draw what? Your rectangular what box around it, because resistance and support is not a price point, rather a zone. So we draw a rectangular box around it. We also draw a rectangular box around it. So the next thing we do, we wait for what? Price to retrace to the zone. Wait for our entry confirmation, like engulfing candle, you understand, or candlestick pattern or chart pattern. I will take the trade to the downside. But if this first area fails, we wait for price to get to the second area, you understand. Wait for our entry confirmation again, engulfing candle, chart pattern, or any kind of entry confirmation. Then we'll take the trade back to the downside, you understand. Before we head over to the chart for some example, if you know you are finding value in the video, make sure you smash that like button, and also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, so whenever we drop a video like this, you'll be the first to be notified. So let's head over to the chart. So looking at this chart, this is a bearish example of what we're talking about. So this is a low, this is an high, this is a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, you understand. So this is currently a downtrend. That is, a trend is being formed, which is the first criteria. So the second criteria is we want to identify the highs that break structure to the downside to form the last break of structure, and the support that break through, understand, to form the last break of structures. You want to click on this, you understand, click on our horizontal ray and put it at the last high, you understand, that cause this break of structure to the downside, and also click again and click on our horizontal line and put it at the support that break through to cause this last break of structure. So having finding this support that turn resistance and this last high, the third rule we need to look for is to make sure that it has a reaction in the past before. So looking at the past, you discover that price react here before, bounce up, price react here before, bounce back. So this is a valid resistance point. Looking at this point again, we check the previous price action in the past, discover that price react from here, go down, price also react from here, go down, price react from here, go down. So this is also a valid resistance point for us. So having knowing that, we go to the fourth rule, which states that support and resistance is not a price point but rather a zone. So we click on this, click on our rectangle, we draw our box around it, draw our box again around it, you understand. Now we have our first resistance, which is this one, and our second resistance. So we anticipate price once price breaks structure to pull back, come into here, reject this place by creating either a chart pattern, candlestick formation, or any other entry confirmation. give us our entry signal here and reject, or if price fails to give us our entry signal here, wait for price to get back to this zone, you understand, and we wait for what our entry signal, the same price pattern or chart pattern or any other price action pattern that we use for entry signal, then we take the trade what to the downside. So looking at this second example for the sell, you will discover that what price is what creating what a lower high here, a lower low here, a lower high here, a lower low here, you understand, a lower high and what a lower low, sorry for that. So what are we doing next? Since the trend is activated, which is the first rule, the second rule is that we identify the highs that break structure to the downside and the support that turn to resistance and break structure to the downside. So this is the lower low, this is the lower high, this is the lower low. What are we doing now in this scenario? We are doing what? Drawing our horizontal line at the highs, and also drawing our horizontal line at the support. So having seen this now, drawing our horizontal line at the highs and at the support of this thing, so we need to confirm if this and this is valid, if the resistance here and here is valid. So what are we doing next, which is the third rule, is to go to the previous price action to see if there's any reaction in the past in these zones. So looking at this one, we discover that there is a reaction here. Price went up when price get to this point. When price get to this point, price went up. So what? This first zone is valid. So we check at the second zone, which is this our second support here. You understand, that turned resistance. Check at the previous price action. You see that when price get to here, price bounced back and went up. And when price gets to here, price reject and went down. So having knowing that, so that is a strong zone. So what are we doing now? We draw our rectangle tool, because support and resistance is a zone, not a price point. So we draw our first rectangle tool here, understand, and we draw our second rectangle tool on the zone. So what happened now? Once price gets to here, we wait for pullback. So at this point, price will have stopped us out here, because if we have our entry confirmation here, price will stop us out here. But once price fails to react here and go to the downside, where is the next point we are waiting for? We are waiting for price to get to the last zone of resistance, which is this point, and look for our entry confirmation to take price to the downside. Look at when price get to the last zone of resistance, what did price do? Price went heavily to the downside. If you are looking for a support, like you have a low, an higher high, an higher low, and higher high. So the two places we need to look out for support in this uptrend now is the low that caused the higher high, and the resistance that break through to cause the higher high. You understand? So this will be our first point of support, and this will be our second point of support. Another thing you need to put into consideration is that support and resistance is not a price point, rather a zone. So when drawing this support now, what are you doing? You are drawing it with a rectangle box, like it's a price zone. You are not just a specific point. When drawing this one, the same thing. You are using a rectangle box because it's a price zone, not just a specific point. And again, this zone must have minimum of 2 previous touches from the previous price action chart. So what do you want to do after that? You want to wait for your pullback. You understand? Once you see your pullback, you wait for if this will hold here, what are you going to see? You're going to see something like whether a candlestick formation or chart pattern or candlestick rejection or break of structure in the lower time frame. Then price is tend to go up. But if this fail to hold, if this first support fails to hold, then the next entry we're looking at for is this second support, which is the second support. We wait for it to confirm our bias, like wait for price rejection, candlestick formation, or break of structure in the lower time frame, any kind of entry signal, you understand, to take price to the upside. What do you see now? You wait for price to break structure to the upside. So now price broke structure to the upside. What we focus on is the low that caused the breach of structure to the upside and the resistance that it passed through to break structure to the upside. So you draw what? Your horizontal line at the low. You also what? Draw your what? Your horizontal line at the resistance. You understand? So once you draw have what? The low and the resistance that turn into support, you understand? You check for previous price action. If there's a reaction, a minimum of 2 reaction in those points. If you check here, you see that there's a reaction here, price drop to the downside. You understand? If you check here, you see there's a reaction here, price drop to the upside. That is 2 reaction. So what? This support is valid. So if you check at this resistance now, that price breakthrough, you check if there's another reaction in the previous price action. What are you doing now? You check here, you see there's a reaction here, price come down. You go to previous price action again. Check here, you see there's a reaction here. You understand? Price what? Went up. So having knowing that, that is also what? A valid resistance. So since support and resistance is not a price point but rather a zone, you just click on your rectangle and make sure you have a rectangular box, you understand, around it. You understand, on the two supports. So what are we doing? We just wait for price to get there. We wait for price what? To get there, get to the support, create an entry confirmation and take price to the upside. If price fails to go to the upside, break through the support, we wait for price to get here, you understand, for our second entry, wait for an entry confirmation and take price what? To the upside. Support and resistance trading can also be used with combination of other price trading techniques like Fibonacci extension. You understand, maybe if you have your fib 22, you can just like draw your fib, you understand, from this low to this highs. Can you see I react there? So if you want to know more about Fibonacci extension, how to use it for trading, you can check the video on your screen above and learn more about how I use my Fibonacci extension. So this will be the end of the video. I hope you have found value in this video, and if you know you have found enough value, make sure you smash that like button and click on the subscription button, so when next we get powerful video content like this, you'll be the first to be notified, so you can come over here and watch and gain more value. So make sure you drop your question in the comment section below. I'll be glad to reply them. So till we meet again in our next video, stay safe and trade profitably. Peace.